Just as food is a basic necessity of life, food security is a priority to all countries, no matter their level of economic development. After decades of arduous struggle, China now feeds 1/5 of the world's population, despite having only 9% of the planet's arable land and 6% of its freshwater resources. What does this mean for the world? What is to be done to ensure everyone has a stable and prosperous future? Today, we're talking with Carlos Watson, representative of the UN Food and Agriculture Organization to China, about this and other topics. I wondered if you could go over briefly what your role is as FAO representative, what the organization does.
When I was, I am FAO representative to China. As you know, FAO is the leading agency in support our member countries to fight hunger especially, but not only. It's all the agri-food systems that would lead to a better, healthy life in terms of nourishment to the people in the world. So based on that, we have to work with countries to make sure that every country has the tools to do it. The main purpose of FAO in China is to make sure that China feels that FAO is a relevant partner for them, in the sense that we can support Chinese objectives in the areas related to FAO's mandate. And first of all, because China is such an important country, the biggest developing country. China, the sheer size of the country, in the sense that whatever happens in China would most probably have world repercussions. So it's good that we work together with China to push these good things, global goods. Just to give you an example, for example, China has embarked in a very strong reforestation plan that was very ambitious, the biggest in the world, and that itself, the achievements done so far have actually reduced the number of lost forests in the whole world. The same with the elimination of extreme poverty. You know, China last year achieved that, and that also made the numbers of the world came down. But on the other hand, China is also, I call it maybe a hybrid country, in the sense that, of course, it's a country that has achieved enormous agricultural development in the last 40 years. So now China is also in the capacity, in the possibility to assist other developing countries in achieving their own development objectives, right? So that in one side, China still needs some assistance to the inside, and then also is very able to support other developing countries. So this makes it very special thing.
As you mentioned, China has the world's largest population. It's the world's largest developing country. Despite this, it's reached a stage of food security.
Yeah.
So, what in terms, as you say, in terms of application, lessons, experiences, these sorts of things that the rest of the world can learn, because there is still pronounced hunger, pronounced food insecurity in much of the developing world.
China dedicated a long period to make sure that everybody had something to eat, basically, securing their own internal food security. And they have done great achievements in that. You have to do many things. It's not one magic touch and then it is. The experiences China has accumulated in this period is vast. So China is now in a position and is willing to do that. Share these knowledges and apply it to different contexts all over the world, especially in developing countries. So there is a list of things that China has done right, from policy development, best practices, projects, and you name it. It's a list of things that then can be really replicated or adapted better than replicated in other countries. For example, the famous hybrid rice. Mm-hmm. This has increased yields of rice production all over the world dramatically. This is one of the things that is actually having a direct impact on the availability of rice in this scale.
So for those who might not be familiar with what the SDGs are, could you go over those and then talk about how the GDI fits in with that?
The SDGs, with Sustainable Development Goals, which is an agreement of all member countries of the UN in 2015, put together a roadmap, on how do we combat poverty, hunger, health, women empowerment, and 17 of them, right? 17 of them. It's just, but if we do manage to get there in 2030, the world would be in a much better place. Several countries have put their own plan how to support them. And China has come up with the most ambitious one, which is called the GDI, Global Development Initiative, which now we're sitting with the government.
The recent confirmation of the country programming framework between the FAO and China. So this is another topic that I think there might not be a lot of familiarity in a general audience with. So if you could go over what the CPF is, what kind of work is being done now that has been confirmed, or what work will be done, and perhaps also the development, since this is the latest one. How these frameworks have adjusted and changed, and how the organization's relationship with China has changed.
We have had CPF since the beginning of our cooperation with China for 40 years. And all are being good. At the time, I think they have been maybe what was needed at that time. But again, this one is very special, because it's one of the last ones. So we cannot still focusing only on individual projects. We want to make sure that those projects have a catalytic effect that could be replicated in other parts of China and other parts of provinces, and that they become, especially with the ones that has good results, that most of them have, honestly, become even law, even national policies or provincial policies, because that would allow the whole results of what we learn in that specific single project to be upscaled.
Moving from the CPF to the kind of national, as you mentioned, the kind of national framework.
Yes.
That would include rural revitalization.
Yes.
As a chief priority, and obviously agriculture is related to rural areas. So if you could go over what your thoughts are on this idea, on what's being done to achieve this, what it actually means on the ground concretely.
Well, it is the natural next step for China. You eliminated, or China has eliminated, extreme poverty. But the first thing that Chinese government has to do is to make sure that this extreme poverty elimination is sustainable. So we have to create the tools that mean creating an enabling environment in which young, women, whatever, have access, And for this many things are happening. We are creating digital villages, in which creating the infrastructure in the villages, so people that live there have direct access to markets, and shorten the value chain. So if you shorten the value chain, through different methods, especially technology, e-commerce, all these e-commerce platforms, we are working very, very closely with them to make sure that people have easier access to these tools that would actually bring more benefits to the producers and to the small farmers.